I arrived at the State Fish Hatchery in Marquette early in the morning to find the crew already hard at work on a stocking mission. The Marquette State Fish Hatchery was established in 1920 and completely renovated in 1994. It is the primary broodstock and rearing facility for brook trout and lake trout that are used in both inland and Great Lakes waters. They also raise splake for both Great Lakes and inland waters. To get all the details, I spoke with fisheries biologist Jim Aho.
We got the 2009 broodstock. We took these by 2009 as we took eggs from contributing males and female contributing families of the 2001s and 2003s. We mixed them in 2009. We call that the 2009 group. They were born right here at the hatchery. The 2001, the 2003, and the 2004 group of lake trout, we took those on Lake Superior. The idea was to get a more genetically sound from an infinite breeding population, natural population on Lake Superior. So we went in and got eggs, fertilized the eggs with the males from Lake Superior, took those eggs, put them in an isolation facility for 6 years, and then did health tests on them routinely, make sure they weren't carrying any bacterial or viral diseases, and we brought those into the hatchery now, and we've been spawning the 2001s, 2003s, and the 2004s here at the hatchery to produce purebred Lake Superior lake trout, or we cross the female lake trout with the male brook trout to make splake. And then this year we're also taking a 2012 group by crossing all three groups, and then we're going to have a 2012 group of broodstock. It takes 6 to 7 years to get an adult sexually mature lake trout, so there's a little bit of planning in advance. And then when the 2009s get mature, we'll surplus the 2001s, and then when the 2012s get mature, we'll surplus the 2003s. It's a continual rotation of about 3 to 4 year classes of fish. The idea of going into Lake Superior was to get a more genetically superior fish, and we took 100 or more families from Lake Superior for each year class, and just by accident we happened to mate 2 individuals and that were probably carriers for the albino gene, and we got a family of albinos. We got about 5 of them here at the hatchery that we kept. We don't actually use them for breeding, but they're here primarily for show. All the raceways out here are run on Cherry Creek water. Cherry Creek is outfall of the Sands Aquifer. It runs from back of Gwin all the way up to Negaunee. Rain falls on the Sands Aquifer, percolates through the soil, and ends up in the Sands Aquifer underground. There's Cedar Creek, Big Creek, Cherry Creek, Silver Creek. They're all outfalls of the Sands Aquifer. Here, Cherry Creek provides 9,000 gallons per minute for the hatchery. It's been identified as one of the most consistent streams in Michigan as far as temperature and volume goes. And it consistently flows at about 9,000 gallons per minute, and it has the water temperatures about 3 degrees Celsius in the wintertime and about 10 degrees Celsius in the summertime. So it's perfect temperatures for rearing trout. We separate the 9,000 gallons to 3,000 gallons for broodstock, and then the 6,000 gallons are used for production. We never mix the two waters between broodstock and production for disease purposes. We also have the capabilities of pumping about 12,000 gallons per minute of water for our inside production purposes. And that peaks for about 3 months in the early springtime. Then the rest of the year, 1 or 2 wells are on. And then it's summertime, all the wells are off. We have 2 effluent ponds on site. The purpose of these are to settle out the settleable solids that we use. The water, the 9,000 gallons of water flows through the hatchery, picks up uneaten food and fish feces, and the settling ponds will settle out that settleable solids. Spawning process is we'll take a dish, express the eggs from the female into a pan, and then take a ovarian fluid sample for health test, set that aside. That ovarian fluid sample, take the male, express the male into a pan, and take a sample of the milk for fish health purposes. And then we'll get results within 24 hours. We'll call any positive families, and then we'll take several families and put them up into production. And then we'll take a teaspoon out of every family and set that aside for future broodstock. So every year there's a large number of contributing families making up the broodstock. So and then we always breed cross lots. We always breed the 2-year-olds with the 3-year-olds, so you never get close cousin or brother-sister matings, and you retain some of the genetic integrity of the stock. The process is that we took our eggs from 230 some families, lake trout families. We waited for the results. We got all negative results for bacteria infections on the adults. We disinfected the outside of the egg with an iodine solution, and then we bring the eggs in here, and they will be incubated for the next 2.5 months here. The fish will be eyeing up in about another month. We'll pick out the dead eggs with a mechanical picker, and then we'll put them back into the incubator for the second month, and then they'll be hatching around December. Lake trout, we get about 80% IAP, live viable eggs. Splake, we get 55 to 60% viable egg when we mix 2 species. And the brook trout will get about 80 to 88% IAP. How a heath tray works is the design very similar to a adult fish in a stream situation. The adult fish will look for groundwater coming into the stream, usually at a gravel location, and it'll make a redd or a nest, and the female will deposit the eggs in a nest amongst the gravel, and then the groundwater coming up through the gravel will aerate the eggs and clean off the silt and keep the fungus and bacteria off the eggs. Here in a hatchery situation, they've designed what is called a heath tray. The eggs are stripped out of a female and fertilized and then put into a heath tray, basically a screen box. The screen box fits into a tray. 5 gallons per minute will enter into the back of the tray, percolate up through the eggs, aerate the eggs with fresh oxygenated water, take out the settable solids out of the eggs, and then spill over, and then the water will drop down to the next tray, and it's reused 7 times in the process and then expelled. Each year we take about 600,000 splake eggs to get a rearing assignment of 235,000 splake, and then we'll take about 300,000 lake trout eggs to meet a rearing assignment of about 150,000 fish, and then brook trout will take about 225,000 brook trout eggs to meet the 118,000 fry that we want to release, or spring fingerlings that we want to release. We start at half tank, low water, and as they grow, we expand the tank to 3/4 tanks and then full tank. And when they outgrow the tank, then we move them outside into 100 cubic meter tanks. Currently they're about 5 inches long, and next May when we stock them, they'll be about 8 to 10 inches long. We've had tremendous success with this strain now. They went through about 8 years of cleanup period for bacterial kidney disease and bronchilosis. Currently we vaccinate them as 3-month-old fry, and then we move them outside at 6 months, and then they're outside for another 10 months. They're BKD free, bacterial kidney disease free, and bronchilosis vaccinated, and that's they're putting a lot of energy into growth, and that's paying off for survival for the fishermen. Marquette State Fish Hatchery was first established in 1922. Originally Marquette State Fish Hatchery was a sawmill. The site was a sawmill, Fraser Sawmill, and in 1922 the state bought the property from Fraser Sawmill. They keyed in on the location because of the constant temperature and constant volume of Cherry Creek. And then in 1922 they started rearing lake trout. It was a cornerstone for lake trout rehabilitation of the Great Lakes. And then we picked up brook trout in about the 70s era, and we started rearing brook trout and lake trout, and then we started doing splake. And the primary funding source for Marquette Hatchery is license sales and the federal excise tax on manufacturers. For each license we sell, we get X amount of dollars, $7 to $8 from the federal excise tax. We have an interpretive center on the 2nd story of the hatchery building, open to the public. Here we have computer programs, information, hatchery history, different things that happened on site over the years. Marquette State Fish Hatchery is open from 7:30 to 3:30 each day. We're open on holidays for public self-guided tours, and open to requests on group tours.